When you were starting up in Hearthstone, how did you balance streaming and also competing?
For me, it really started, and I think it's probably a little bit, maybe also for you, like it for me started as competing.
Well, you can't just say for me. Let me talk too.
Okay.
You know, we're both here.
Or how did, well, okay, I will talk
no,
for myself.
You're right. It was the same for me. Okay, I'm just giving you a hard time.
For me, I was really focused on competing, and after doing really well at in competitions, tournaments, I realized that it could also be just smart for me and also something I might just really enjoy to start the streaming part. It was first really balanced on competing, and if I have free time, I'm gonna stream. And lately, it became also more in a factor where I started to stream way more regularly on a schedule, and that's what I'm still doing now.
And how has that done for your competition results? Have they continued to rise, and you keep getting all these massive titles, or you know, what kind of happened once you started streaming there more, eh, Thijs?
I think it went a little bit the same as for you, where where I started really great, but the more it's really hard to balance streaming and competing. I did really well in 2015, 2016. 2017, I definitely was also really motivated to compete, but you cannot end stream and compete and practice every day of the time. And when you're streaming, you are asked, why are you not competing? When you're competing, you're asked why you're not streaming sometimes. Yeah. It's a really hard balance. Also streaming, it has some benefits, but there are also some more negative points where you show all your decks, people know what you're playing. Sometimes they might have really good information on what you're doing. My
favorite part about streaming, even though you give away all this information, you lose maybe some of your competitive edges, you make money, which is fantastic. It's a great way to make a living. I really enjoy that aspect of it a lot. But yeah, it's really hard to compete, especially because you're trying to be an entertainer. You're trying to have fun with it. I know when I stream, whenever I make a misplay or something like this, your Twitch chat will point it out to you, which can be helpful. I remember back, I said out loud, I always like say my mistakes, maybe I'll catch them. I'll be like, oh, I should have coined ghoul there. And then for a month, everyone told me in Twitch chat, hey, Firebat, coin ghoul. And I'm not even playing warrior. I don't have coin or ghoul in my hand. And then every time now I'm playing Hearthstone and I make a blunder, I'm just like, I should have just coined ghoul. So you start getting like memes and stuff introduced into your gameplay. And there's no space in the tournament scene to play meme-y things. So, you know, there's some struggle there with that for sure.
Yeah, for streaming it is really, you are also an entertainer. There's definitely important to like play, show what you have, win your games. But it's really important, people don't want to just see us every day playing Highlander Priest.
They do not want to see you play Highlander
Priest. There is
a
struggle for me to like always catch up on
whatever deck is good. This stream is like, don't play that. We don't want to see you play something good.
Yeah.
We want you to play something terrible.
So and then what is good.
You go to the tournament, and you're like, you're really good at playing really bad decks. It turns out everyone else practiced the actual decks in the game. So, you know, you're at a slight disadvantage there, because now you're playing Highlander Priest for the first time in 6 months, and you're not into us as well.
Have you ever, like, for me, it's every day a little bit of a balance of, like, or every year, how am I going to balance out to compete and streaming, because I still want to compete.
In 2014, it was all competing. 2015 was kind of a balance between the two. It's really hard with all the traveling that competing is involved. You really just throw your sleep schedule for a loop. Because at one point in 2015, I stayed in Europe for like 2 months, and I'm a North American streamer. So, you know, the whole time schedule and stuff like that flips you all around. So it's hard to keep a consistent schedule. And the most important thing with streaming is just consistency. So competing and streaming consistently, I found like almost impossible. And now I pretty much only stream and make videos and all that kind of stuff. And I've given up on competing mainly just due to the amount of travel involved.
Yeah, the travel involved is also a big thing for me. Like if I travel and I play a tournament what takes 2 days, I'm 4 days away from home. I'm 4 days not streaming.
Yeah,
it's something I love. Like in my heart, I'm a competitor, so I still want to like compete everywhere. And when I can compete from home, play tournaments there, maybe these are the chances. Last year, I still qualified myself every year for the regionals, but that was where I kept to. I didn't go to like the tournaments, the DreamHack, the other.
Oh, you can't do it because you're gonna be traveling. You're gonna lose these 4 or 5 days that you're talking about. Someone else is gonna swoop in. Someone's gonna start taking your viewers and. you know, everything that you've been working towards on the stream starts falling apart.
One thing is really similar is that both are actually competitions a little bit. Like we know all that competing is a competition, but streaming is sometimes a little bit too, and it's just really important that you are having a regular schedule.
Right. There's only like a certain number of viewers kind of available per time slot, and whatever time slot you decide to stream in, you're kind of just going head to head against those guys, and you have to be more entertaining or better than them, and kind of divvy up the viewers that way. Otherwise, you know, you're not going to make any money, and you're not going to be successful streaming at all. So you could easily lose that competition.
Yeah, and but I definitely think like I still want to compete. Like I still have the feeling like you want to compete, even if you're streaming. The only problem I have with streaming sometimes is like I don't feel I become much better compared to like practice sessions where you have like.
You ever get sniped? That's a fun feeling.
Yeah, that's
when you're streaming and you're like, this guy clearly knows every card in my hand. He is watching the stream, and then I try and explain my plays on stream, right? So I'm like, all right, if my opponent does this, this, and this, I'm gonna be screwed. And I can just like see him hover over cards, and I'm like, oh, he has those cards, and he just heard me say that. He's really excited to play him.
Or you have like, oh, there is no way he's having this card in hand. It will every time get played here, and you're just completely wrong, and then you get like the next turn completely punished by it.
It's definitely a different environment on stream than off stream. Your win rate's different. People don't normally see your hand in tournaments, so when you're playing against people that see your hand every time, all of the odds in your head and stuff like that kind of get jumbled up because it's a different game. It's a different game when half your opponents know your hand compared to when none of your opponents know your hand. So you just build bad practice habits from that, just practicing in a different environment than a tournament environment.
Yeah, where in competing, you can, what I like about the part of streaming, in competing, people don't really know why our decisions are made the way we make them. When you are streaming, you can really explain your viewers, what am I thinking, and what am I thinking already for the next turn.
With great sound effects, too.
And what am I thinking the turn after, because these players, they are all like, they are probably thinking 3 turns ahead, but you don't see that. They can't.
They can't tell it to you.
No, they can't tell it to you.
We should mic them up and have them start talking.
Yeah, we should mic them up. Well, they will probably not say anything either because they're thinking.
Focusing.
But it's really like there is way more happening in our mind than you see there on the stream or on screen. And that is something we can really explain, and everybody can ask questions. There's a lot of interaction in streaming, something that I also really like.
Wait, you read the Twitch chat?
Yes, I do, of course. I'm skipping the short emotes, but then when there is when something is long, it's normally worth reading, except it's sometimes a copy pasta.
It's usually a copy pasta, and that thing is worth reading. It's a trick.
Well, so, normally I read the first sentence, and if it is good, then I'm like, okay, I'm going to continue, and then if I see, okay, I shall not read it, I just stop in the middle. Happens too.
Remember the one really famous donation you got, the Colento one? Was that one worth reading?
There was at the time where people called me Colento, Zavich, Ama. I was like, I don't know. There was like a time on Twitch where people did that. I was everybody. And then I had like, I think I just had a standard reaction where I'm like, sometimes just said, no, I'm not. Yeah. I'm just not. And then, yeah, there was just a smart guy on the internet that figured that out. But I didn't even figure it out myself. And then, yeah, it just became that I reacted to a robot without noticing. I went into a discussion with a robot, the text-to-speech girl, that I didn't notice. And then after 5 seconds, I realized, I think I just am in a discussion with a robot. Let's just stop here now.
Yeah, so streaming doesn't make you crazy. Not at all.
No, that's the cool thing. Like, everything is live. So, yeah, the highlights are live, but sometimes, sadly, your misplays, your unfortunate moments, they are also all live.
No, you never misplay on stream, right? You're always 5-2, I think.
Always 5-2?
Always 5-2. If you ever log into Thijs' stream, he's got a scoreboard, and it is every time I've ever been there, 5-2.
No.
He could lose the next game and win the game after that, and it will still be 5-2.
Yeah, I'm sometimes lazy without changing. That is true. I'm like, okay, I'm just focused on the game. Do you put a score on the stream?
Only when I'm winning, of course, right? Like, now you have the Innkeeper app, which is like this interactive deck overlay. You can kind of hover over it, and it keeps score for you. So, but every time you change a card, it resets it to 0-0.
Yeah.
So if I go 0-3, I just change one card, maybe put it back later, and then I'm 0 again, you know? And then, it's
we got the strategies.
Yeah, you got to get a strategy for that, because the things that they want me to play on stream are not good. OTK Paladin is what I've been playing lately.
Oh, I've been playing that deck too.
I got to 6th round in a qualifier with the OTK Paladin lineup. So they're a Firebat. Why don't you compete anymore? It's like, I do. It's just different. Now I'm playing OTK Paladin on stream to compete instead, you know?
But these decks can be really satisfying. Like
They're really satisfying.
If you just win that one game, you don't remember the 3 losses you have with it. No. I think Weasel Priest is also a pretty fun deck, and I'm still figuring out what I'm actually doing with the deck sometimes. But it's a deck that if you win, it just feels really great.
Have you won with that before? Is that even a thing you can do?
Yeah, I think I have like 40% win rate with the deck.
40%.
Hey, that's pretty good for Weasels.
Hey, I mean, when you got Weasel Tunneler in your deck, sure, I guess.
So every time I'm like, at the end of the stream,
would you bring it to a tournament? This is streaming versus competing. Is this?
Oh, man. Yeah, that's my issue with like combining it. The decks that I play on stream, I barely can bring them to tournaments. I do it with them.
You still do it, though.
I mean, I have Control Mage, Control Paladin. I think they are still fine. And you got to get back on your Mage, by the way.
Okay. All right. Mage
like,
has been doing great.
Been doing
Sure. I may have underestimated it a little bit earlier, if I'm honest.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I think it's still. I think a lot of the Priest players don't really know how to play against it properly.
Okay.
I think the matches could have been tighter, honestly, against the Mages. But the Mage has been performing. But one is about to be eliminated, right? We're having. Frozen and Sinto will face off each other.
Oh.
So one of the Mages has to lose.
So the only reason why Mage is now getting out is because it's going to like kill itself a little bit.
Well, we don't have to talk about the reason why, but there's going to be a Mage eliminated. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, I was kind of right.
No.
I don't know.
But do you have like still like maybe if there are like a lot of tournaments will be online, will that be a reason for you to like get competing in?
I would love to play tournaments online, but one of the things with tournaments online is everyone would love to play tournaments online. So now you have 1,000 24-man tournaments over 7 days with like no breaks, and you know, it gets crazy. Like 10, 12-hour days of tournament play is a little ridiculous, but if they could remove maybe some of the downtime between rounds of tournaments, I think it would be really cool if you could make tournaments more streamer-friendly, like big online tournaments. If you could do it competing and streaming at the same time because the system is just better. Because right now I play a tournament game, all my viewers are like, hey, what's going on? Why are you not playing ladder? I'm like, well, I'm playing the tournament. And I play one tournament game, then I wait 2 hours, then I play another tournament game. And no one has the time to sit there and watch that whole stream. No one can like follow the tournament and really get into it just because of the way that it's organized and stuff like that. So it's not conducive to good streaming content. So that's why all the streamers just play ladder instead of playing the tournaments online.
Yeah, I would also love that there are like that you have to like submit your decks at least, because I've played like also open tournaments.
Where's tournament mode? Where is that? It's
but I was like playing my my decks, and I played against an aggressive lineup.
Yeah.
The 2 rounds
and he
before.
changed it. Yeah.
And then I suddenly played against Quest Rogue, Quest Root, Quest Mage. I was like, okay, yeah, that's pretty good against my control decks.
It's pretty hard to stream and win an open tournament because everyone can just change decks. Because a lot of the tournaments you're allowed to change decks between rounds. So you kind of, as the streamer, have to change decks every round. And you have to kind of do it like secretively if you don't want other people in the tournament to see what decks you're playing. Just build a counter lineup and beat you. Yeah,
what comes to both is, I think, for streaming and for competing, you need dedication. And you need a lot of dedication. You need to do it like consistently. Try to improve yourself at both factors which you want. And it's a thing that you should not start with like, hey, this is something that, yeah, maybe I just want to be like the best. No, you also really have to enjoy it. You have to like work every day on it. You need to work really hard. Probably fall down hard sometimes too, and then catch up again and continue. That's definitely for both.
If you want to become a streamer, you have to compete against everyone else that wants to be a streamer, and it turns out there's a lot of people that want to do that. You look at some of the streamers that have just started coming up now. Asmodai just got like a huge leap and a takeoff, and one of the reasons why is because he streamed 365 days in a row for at least 4 hours every day. Like. That's a lot of dedication. That's weekends, holidays, everything. So people, you have to beat them. There's a lot of people that want it, which makes it really difficult to do. And if you're going to compete on top of that, now you have a whole nother competition of people that you're competing against, because then there's people that spend the same amount of time, but instead of streaming are in hardcore practice groups by themselves. So it's really, I think, at the point where streaming and competing together is almost impossible. You really have to pick one field to dedicate yourself to and absolutely crush at it. So there's just so many people that are so refined in the areas that they want to excel at.
Yeah. To give a little bit of like a way of how my schedule at least looks, I start my day at 9 or 10 a.m. I stream till 4 or 5 p.m. Then I take a little, I make some food, get some, always important, and I like cooking. Then but then sometimes if there is a tournament coming up, that means that I also have to spend the evening to do tournament preparation, because the way I stream is not the best tournament preparation.
No, your decks are great.
Thank you.
You got 5-2.
Thank you.
You got 5-2.
Thank you, thank you. But it's, and then sometimes you spend your evening also then on tournament preparation, and then you do it again the next day. And this is how it is a pretty big cycle sometimes. But yeah, at the end of the day, if you love something and you think you're good at it, I definitely think that you can like achieve a lot in it too.
And you got to just keep doing it too. A lot of times when you work that hard at something, you can get burnout, which is where, even though you love the game, it's just like, I've played this expansion maybe 20,000 games, and I don't want to do it anymore. And it's like, well, all right, tomorrow I'm going to do it again for another 12 hours. Like, because sometimes the expansion times, it may seem for like a casual player that the expansions are really well timed, but for the guy that plays all day, every day, it's like, please, new cards faster.
For us, when you play like 8 to 10 days a day, sometimes it can be like...
The game's not designed to be played that much, that often, all the time, so you can sometimes get burnout. Some of the expansions are so great, you don't even get burned out, and that's when the game's just awesome.
Every time the rotation happens and then an expansion comes through, that's like the best 3 months of like the year for me. Then I feel there's so much still possible. Like now there are some really great cards, and I love the new expansion, but it's still hard. Like, you still have to beat Highlander, Priest, and Jade that were already there before.
Now you got to beat Voidlord on turn 6 every game too. So
that's true.
That really limits the amount of things you can do. So it cuts down on it a lot, but...
But you're gonna like get back to streaming when you're back home again? You're gonna pick it up?
I've been doing a little bit of streaming. For a while, I was experiencing some of the burnout of streaming too much and stuff like that. And I've been kind of pulling it back. I started doing weekends off now.
Okay.
Yes, now I go hiking. I go hiking and cooking on the weekends. I play sports, stuff like that. You know.
You already play esports.
I play esports, but now like. Because if you like really get involved into streaming and competing and all that kind of stuff, and you do it 7 days a week, at least for me, there's always more that you can do, especially when you're your own boss. There's always like more social media stuff you can do. There's more videos you can make. There's more time you can spend streaming. So sometimes you just like never cut yourself off. And I was getting to the point where I was just like literally just parking it in front of my computer 7 days a week. So I had to just start taking weekends off and doing other things because it was just too much. Yeah,
that's definitely like how our days are looking like. As much as I love all the freedom I have with being like a little bit my own boss, our days never end. Like we are never done.
Right, there's more you can always do. And then you feel bad because you're like, I should be doing this. Other people are doing this. Why can't I do this too? And, you know,
or you had a great day, you go to bed, but you're still,
hey, you pull out the phone, you're like, oh, I should post this stuff on Twitter. Maybe I should respond to this on Reddit. Maybe I should read these YouTube comments. Maybe I should, you know.
So it is always a little bit balanced for us, but definitely streaming and competing, I think, are definitely two beautiful parts of Hearthstone.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for anything.
No.
But you definitely have to manage it. You definitely have to take some steps back. If you try and like rush through everything and do everything, you're going to exhaust yourself. It's like very easy to do because there's just so much you can do.
Yeah, it's always a little bit balanced, at least for us. And yeah, I think that was what we wanted to talk with you about the streaming and competing part. Hope you enjoyed it, and hope you have a great tournament here, the rest in Amsterdam.
Cool.